Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville.
Hey, what up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Lee and His Sneaks. Last week was the holiday, and I hope you guys all had a great time with your families and you cherish those moments. I don't want to get too preachy, but as you know, during this pandemic, some people don't have the ability to be with their family, and some people don't have the ability to be with their families at all during this time. So please cherish those moments, and also I hope you spent time with your family. To those who could have, you did it safely. Again, I don't want to get too preachy, but going along the lines of people not having the ability to spend time with their families, my fiance and I, we're on this new kick on this show, 60 Days In on A&E, not a paid partnership, just telling you the story. And we're in the third season, and in this season they're in Fulton County. And they did a raid on the pod that some of the prisoners were in. So what they did was, to make sure that they had an uninterrupted raid, they removed the prisoners, put them on the bus. They kind of took them like on a little field trip, like a little hey, just get them out on the bus and get them out, so we can do our thing. And these guys are like wilding out, like they were so happy, and I wasn't laughing at it, but I was kind of taken aback by like, damn, we take that for granted, just going outside, going to the store. But these guys, for them to get out of those prison walls and like actually just see like a freeway, the sunlight actually hit them and smell that fresh air, that was like a treat to them. So I don't know, it just makes me want to like take a look at life and just appreciate little things more. But that's it for that. Again, I didn't mean to get too preachy, so we're going to talk about the shoe today. And today's shoe is the Dunk High SB Reese Forbes. Reese Forbes, skater with the Nike team. I don't know too much about him. I'm not a skateboarder. I buy the Nike Dunk SB and anything from the SB line for fashion. I don't skate. Some people may hate me for that, but I'm just keeping it real with you. So this shoe was part of the original pack, if I'm not mistaken. That either came out in, I think it was 2001, maybe 2000. So when they had the Dunk Low SB pack, Danny Super was part of it. Reese Forbes, and I forgot the other few. I'm gonna get friggin' murdered by the skateboarding community. But Reese Forbes had a low top version of this. And a lot of those shoes were slept on back in the day. But now, like, people want it, especially a low top version. And that joint's like $15,000 on resale. The shoe was like $60, $65. But now, like 15 grand. And like, here's the thing for a lot of you who are not in the sneaker world, there's a difference between a shoe that sells for that much and a shoe that commands that much. There are a lot of sneakers out there you'll see like, oh, the Red October Yeezy 2s are like, the asking price is $15,000. Yes, the reseller may be asking for $15,000, but he or she is most likely not gonna get $15,000. And now ever since you have these NBA players who have these multi-million-dollar contracts stepping out on the court with shoes, shopping in consignment stores so they can break necks on the court, everybody's upping their price. I'm so glad I got these before Travis Scott became a thing, because had that man taken a picture of these, these joints would have been like unobtainable. But anyway, so the reason I'm talking about this shoe today is this was a shoe that I wore on my first cable television gig, HBO's Crashing. I remember Wardrobe was like, hey, send us some options and whatnot. And I was just like, well, look, I'm a big sneakerhead. I can send you a lot of options for my feet. And they were like so excited about it. So I sent them pictures of, I wore these to the fitting, but I also bought my Dub Zeros, which I sold, and my Shark Lows, which I sold. I regret selling some shoes, but you know what? At the time, I just didn't need them. But yeah, so I wore these, and some people in the production squad were like, oh, damn, you're wearing your Forbes out, you're wearing your Reese's. I love the name Reese because that was a character on Malcolm in the Middle, and I always thought that character was so dope. But yeah, this is what I wore on my first HBO gig, my first cable television show gig, and my boy George Basil was on the set that day. And the reason why I mentioned George, much love George if you're watching this, was so George and Pete, I interacted with them on the in the scene, right? So George invites me to Video Village. Video Village, I don't know if you ever walk by a set that's filming outdoors. You can see like a little tent or something set up, and there are just a bunch of screens, the director's in there, the writer, the producers. That's Video Village. So I'm sitting in Video Village with my boy George, who plays Leaf, who's a series regular on the show. And we're just chopping it up. The writers are there, the producers are there, and I think the director, he was talking to Pete. Pete Holmes, by the way, is a very cool dude. Much love, Pete. I got a picture with me and him. I'm gonna post it up here. And George, I didn't like notice it at the moment, but George was like, yo, so what's going on? What's next and whatnot? I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hang out and do this. And he was like, no, I mean like, what's next project-wise? And I was doing a production of Romeo and Juliet. I was on break shooting Crashing, and it dawned on me like, okay, so I was talking about projects I was doing. I was showing the writer who was there, the writing team I should say, my personality, because if they would have gravitated towards me, oh, this dude's pretty cool, you know what, we should write him in an episode. Not to say that's gonna really happen, but it was just like a dope thing for my boy to throw me an alley-oop. Now mind you, the alley-oop didn't really go anywhere, but what George did is something that everyone should do in any industry where they obtain success: sending the elevator back down. You know, he could have just been like, oh cool, Leon's here, he's gonna do his scene, and all right, I'm gonna shake his hand and give him a hug and say let's hang out, you know, Joe Allen's chat. Look up what Joe Allen's chat mean. But but instead, he brought me closer to the people who could have created an opportunity for me. So that's something when I'm at that level in my career, where I can pull my friend who just happens to be on set with me that day and throw he or she the alley to hopefully have that land somewhere and have their career grow. So George, if you're watching this, much love, brother. I appreciate that. I'm forever indebted to you for that. And when I'm in a position to do something like that for you, you damn well bet I'm gonna do it for you. But yeah, this is the Reese Forbes Dunk High. It was a shoe that I wore for my first cable television gig. I don't think I'm gonna sell this one because one, the memory, and two, this shoe's just freaking dope. Like, you gotta take a look at, like, I know the light's kind of crazy, but like the stitching, the detail on how you have the contrasting colors. That always stands out to me, contrasting colors. Like, that can make any article of clothing pop. You got the phrase here along the edges, so it makes it look like worn in jeans. I love the way how the red and then the navy goes. It makes the shoe pop. Yeah, I'm not selling these. These came with navy laces. I swapped them out for the white. The white just lands on it, because if it was navy, it'd just be too dark, too much of a brooding shoe, and I'm not a brooding actor. As you can see, I'm a freaking firecracker. Yeah, I said that, I'm a firecracker. But yeah, Reese Forbes High, Reese Forbes Dunk SB High. George Basil, again, thank you so much. And to those who are watching, send the elevator back down. But as I always say, just be nice and be kind to one another. Be well and be safe. All the best, y'all.
Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville.